My name is Ali and I'm the CEO of USA Link System. We are a local Glendale-based company here in Los Angeles. We are a digital marketing and development company that focuses on small and medium-sized businesses. And today's topic will be about the errors that we have seen for our practice that marketing departments and companies made before, and we will learn today from these errors. Okay, but before we start, why did you come to this workshop? Can I find out? Anyone? Exactly. So what she said, she wants to know if she's making those errors. And you know, for me, for us as a team, marketing is a crossroad between something that we all in industry say hit and miss. Like you do it and then you think, oh, it's going to work out or it's not going to work out, right? But besides that hit and miss aspect, there is also communication aspect, right? And there is also design aspect, right? There is also math aspect, because not everything in marketing is hit and miss. Today we have tools to understand whether whatever we put out there actually works or not. So for this case study, I'm going to use big brands so you understand how those were affected by these errors. But please don't think that those errors don't touch small and medium-sized businesses, right? The effect of seeing them in big businesses is different than on those errors being for small and medium-sized businesses, because if a small business does this or commits this error, for size of that business, that error may cost actually losing the business, because in medium-sized and small-sized businesses, it's either up the scale or down the scale. If you commit an error and you cannot actually financially sustain that error, you are out of the business. So you will, if you will follow us on social and you go and sign up for our blog or for our YouTube channel, you will find a lot more interesting topics about marketing and how to do things in your own. We also have a lot of interactive workshops that you can sign up for. But for this purpose, today we are going to use some examples that we'll go through. We'll start with the first one. Everyone, or any business owner, needs to understand what actually defines their brand. What service, what makes you different? If you don't know that today, go home and do your homework. Put in front of you a piece of white paper, old-fashioned way, and write down how is your brand different than others, and what is specific about your brand that people keep coming to you. For example, if you are a taco restaurant in Los Angeles, right? Why do people come to you to eat the tacos, since there is so much competition, right? That will make you understand what sells in your business, and those are the things you need to stick to. And the first error is, before you consider to add any type of different service or any other products into your current business, you have to really think, is that new service or business or product contingent to your current brand, right? If it's not, if as a business owner you just came out with another great idea, another great product, you would rather have it promoted separately than adding it to the existing business, right? And one of these famous errors that one of the big companies did, which is Coors, right, the beer brand, they once felt like they can sell water, and it didn't work for them. They lost on this idea because people do not associate Coors with water, right? They associate it with alcoholic beverages. So that's why many big brands, they would rather have a conglomeration of brands under the same umbrella, such as Unilever, right? They don't issue or produce those products under the same brand. How is that contingent to you as a small and medium-sized business? you always want to add something more to your business, right? Because we are in business to generate revenue. But you have to think, whatever you add, is it really going to do to add value to your current brand, or it will detriment your brand, right? So think about who are you as a brand, and whether whatever you want to add is going to be adding value to that brand. That's lesson number 1. Lesson number 2. As people, and marketing is people's science about people, right? In order for us to cater to our customer, we need to understand our customer, right? We need to understand not necessarily what they say they will do, but what they actually do. And a very good example would be for that is if you would go and join any group for young mothers, they would never admit that they will go and feed their kid with McDonald's afterwards, right? They will all say, I'm going to give the best to my kids. Although McDonald's sells millions of meals, kids' meals, right? Again, nothing bad towards McDonald's, but that's a choice a parent makes, right? So we need to understand that our customer may say one thing but do completely differently, right? And with today's technology, we are able to understand what actually our customers does, right? And we need to emphasize on that. They may say they like our let's say newsletters, but we see that from newsletter they always go to our blogs. They don't go anywhere else but our blogs. What does it mean to you as a small business? You need to know what your customer does, where it goes, and where it actually interacts with your brand, so you can actually work on that part of your business. If they really go to your blog, then maybe you can feature your products inside the blog feed, right? And that will generate your sales, right? We need to understand that. Just because your customer in a survey told you that they like blue pens, and on the actual numbers you see the red pen sells better, trust what the numbers say. Because in the beginning I said it's a crossroad between people art, right, and the math. So we listen to what they say, but we actually act on what numbers say afterwards, right? Talk to your customer. And I mean it, talk to the customer. Don't just send an email and think it's going to work. Don't just send the text message think that it works. You know what strikes me? I'm also a customer on the market, LA market, right? Sometimes I need to shop for things and go through the venue of small and medium-sized businesses. Let's say I'm going to shop tomorrow for a car part. Just an idea. You know what strikes me? Nobody asks questions, follow-up questions to understand where did I call from? How did I get their number, right? Don't you think that just because you're a small business, you don't need to comply with the business practices that big corporations do? When they ask you what is your phone number, just in case we disconnect, do you really think they ask this question just because they may get disconnected? No, they ask it to get your phone number. So what is wrong in us, small and medium-sized businesses, approaching the same way our customers? When someone calls, just because you didn't sell to them a service or a product today doesn't mean you will not sell it tomorrow, right? What that means, it opens for you an opportunity to understand where is your customer coming from, who they are, right? Like, why did I call them versus 1,000 other people that are online right now? How did they come to you? Is it through Yelp? Is it through Google? What is this search that I have done as a client to get to you, right? And it's all up to you, the business owner, to make those rules within your company. You anyway have a person answering the phone, right? Anyway, they are doing their job. So make sure they are understanding who is that person calling, no matter whether you will sell to that person today or not. This data is crucial for your business. brand identity is very hard to prove, right? Today you are making a company. It doesn't mean you are going to have a viral success tomorrow, because we are in a saturated market today. There is competition everywhere, left and right. But a single simple mistake may make your business go down the drain. You may lose it. So please learn from these big brands that they have done a wrong move in order to lose who they are on the marketplace, especially today in the digital world. One person says something about your brand, millions see it, right? So you have to be very careful about how you present the brand, and make sure you don't make any false advertisements, anything that you cannot deliver, although you are a small business, right? We can learn from this, and we learned this year with those airline corporations that they have not treated their clients well, and the world knew about it, right? Now let's talk about the brand. What is a brand? Can someone answer to me what is the brand in your company, for example? Anyone? Can you define a brand? Okay, for example, you. Can you tell me what's a brand? Yeah. Well, that's one way of saying. You know, when people come to us and we are focused on small and medium-sized business, they sometimes mistaking brand with the logo, with the website. A brand is not a logo or a website or a flyer or a visual that you produce. Brand is everything, including your furniture. How clean is your furniture, right? How are you welcoming your customers? How are your employees talking about your business? How are your vendors talking about your business? How happy are your clients walking away from the business, right? So everything what surrounds you, it's your brand, not necessarily just your logo, right? So it's very important, and I will give you an example, like a Halloween theme example. A brand needs to be like a superhero costume, and I will explain you. Give me a little bit here. So when your employee steps inside your office, they need to wear this superhero costume, right? That means speak your brand, talk your brand, represent your brand, speak the language of your brand, right? They need to brief your brand while they work for you. And who is responsible for that is the business owner, right? The principles and the rules you are going to training your employees, that's the way they are going to talk about your brand, right? Same thing with your customer. Once they walk inside, your goal is to make sure that your vendors, your customers, and your employees not only wear that superhero costume inside your building, inside your business. You will have success when that costume will be not dropped after they leave your building or your business. What does it mean? How does that translate in marketing world? That means that your employee is going to talk about your brand outside, right? That means your customer is going to talk about your brand in outside world. And when you will reach that aspect of your customers, vendors, and employees talking about your brand in a positive way outside, you will reach that peak of your marketing, right? Because you have done something great for them to go ahead and do that for you. That means you will not have to pour a lot of money into marketing. Now your customer markets for you. And that's the greatest peak of marketing. And we have seen fails like Wells Fargo, Bank of America, that were advertising something that was not reality. And then they would not give the correct principles to the inside employees, and that strike to a big, big problems that they recently have if you watch the media. And then we came back to visuals now, right? although brand is not only about visuals, visuals are very important in marketing. And I always say to the employees and to the customers that come through our door, design is not a pretty picture. Design is another level of communication, because through design, through that visual that you display to your customers, you talk to them, right? The colors that you use, they trigger different feelings to different people. Blue triggers one feeling, yellow triggers a different feeling. Just because you look at something and it's pretty to you, it doesn't mean it's going to appeal to others, right? So when we design something for our brand, we need to make sure we deliver a message, not a pretty picture, but a message. How clear are your visuals? What do they actually trigger in people that they get to interact with that visual? And a wrongly done visual for your business, it's going to be detrimental for you, right? For example, if you are a restaurant, right, you want to have those nice pictures of the food there, because this is how people live now. They think of pictures when they think of food. They go to your restaurant and they order what looks pretty on the menu. Most probably you will sell more of the item that looks very nice on that menu, right? So if you are still a old traditional business, just simply adapting your menu to a new way of having more pictures and more descriptions, and maybe adding calories, because people count calories today, will allow you to sell more. And that is just one of the examples how design, being reviewed carefully as a method of communicating to your customer, is going to help your business grow. And we have seen a big failure that Nike did when they promoted to the Middle East their new line of shoes. One of the letters was reminding the word for Allah in Muslim, right? So the community asked Nike to remove this item from the market, and they had a big failure in that market afterwards. Then they had a big trouble of reestablishing themselves in that market. And that is one of the examples how a corporation with billions of dollars, with creative people countless, did that mistake. And we can learn from this mistake not to apply the same thing in our business. So to review them, let's summarize them. Number one, you need to know what is your brand, right? And how is your brand talking to the people? What actually people know about your brand? If you don't know that, please go ahead and define that for you, because it's either you do it in your own, meaning marketing, or you go to another agency to do the marketing for you. You are going to need to answer what is your brand, what makes it different on the marketplace. And before you actually add another product or service, consider whether it's in alignment with your current brand or not, right? Next is you actually have to listen what your customers say, but follow what your customer do. And there is many free tools right now. Simple Google Analytics, right? You're a small business, but you still need to know where are those 5 customers coming from. Because by understanding where those 5 coming from, you will gain another 5, right? By understanding what those 10 people do, you will get another 5. But by not knowing anything about your customer, you don't know where to put your efforts, time, and money. And you need to talk to your customer. If you don't have rules in your business about get to know your customer policy, go ahead and write it. It's just 5 bullet points. If you have a receptionist, make sure she knows to follow rules. Represent the company appropriately. The same words, how you want the company to go out there. Every single call, every single caller, find out who they are, where they come from. How did they find about you? What are they calling about? And have a system where you record those, right? whether it's a CRM, whether it's Excel sheet, doesn't matter what tools you use, you need to accumulate that information. Then make sure you are following your brand's integrity rules yourself, so you don't detriment your brand down the line. Then align your internal system and the policies to the external brand vision, right? So if you are saying that, let's say, chocolate candies or dark chocolate candies is your specialty, you need to deliver that to the world through the visuals, through the promotions. You don't say one thing and start doing differently, right? Promoting milk chocolate later on. Then pay attention to your visuals. Make sure your visuals are clear. Make sure they deliver the right message. Make sure they are in alignment to your current brand. If you are not happy yourself as a business owner with the visuals of your brand, believe me, your customers will not be happy too. So revisit that chapter. Don't just shuffle it at the end of the shelf, because we are always busy about paying salaries, making, a living, right? And then you will always forget about those things that are not important or crucial today. They are important. In our digital world, the way people see, that's the way they are going to feel about your brand. So you need to revisit your visuals and make sure they're all in the line. Not the sticker on the window is green, the menu is blue, and advertising online is yellow. Make sure it's all in line with your brand colors, and make sure your brand colors are talking to your customer. Because if you are a juice bar, use a green bright color to make people hungry. Don't use a purple, right? So this is very important. And we do marketing. I do marketing, and I love what I do. You also, as a business owner, need to ask yourself, do you really, really love what you do? Because in business, no matter how much money you pour into marketing, how much time and effort you put in it, you really, truly need to love what you do. Because if you really love what you do, you are going to take care of it as you take care of your children. If you don't like what you do, you take everything as a procedure, right? I need to do that, that, and that. And that becomes a to-do list, not a passion list. So that's something I want to leave you with. Really ask yourself if you love your brand, and if you do, don't commit those errors, and really pay attention to the way you communicate to your customer at any point. And I'm available for any questions.